Good morning, PAX. It's good to be here again. I'm here with the virtually present Michael Sierravella. How are you, Michael?
Oh, I forgot I have to blink.
Yeah.
I was going to hold that for the whole hour and a half like Randall.
Yeah, I didn't know how you were gonna talk,
I started like this. It didn't work out there. No, we are here having fun and rocking out here. I am doing lovely. How are you today, Rem?
I'm good. I am feeling good. We had some tech issues with internet, but what else?
Shock, I know, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we are here now, and I'm excited to chat with you and go over the schedule for today. There are a couple tweaks from yesterday's schedule. Also, I'm going to bring up the chat so that if they ask you questions or me questions or...
Why would they ask me questions?
Yeah.
I would never answer or tell them the truth.
Our theme for the weekend has been how it's done. So I want to ask you some demo team questions.
Sounds good.
Of how it's done. So, all right, I've got that up for when it's needed. So, our schedule for today. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so we're at Good Morning PAX with Michael Sierravella and Rem. And we're going to be just chit-chatting and talking about CDT.
Cool.
And then at 11 a.m., we're going to have John Helfers and Friends.
Yeah,
and friend. Talking fiction. So I think you're going to be there.
All right, more than likely.
Depending on booth staffage, we've got Jason Hardy.
Very true.
We've got Jason Hansa is here, so hopefully all of them will be on, and any other surprises that John brings.
Mostly to John himself at that point.
Yeah, right. Then at noon, we're going to have RPGs, how it's done. Oh, we're showing the table. Hello, table. There we go. So RPGs, how it's done. So that's going to be with Jason Hardy, the director of the RPG division, and RJ Thomas, who's going to be virtually calling in to talk Shadowrun. He's the line developer for Shadowrun. What else do we got? We've got at 1 Quincy and Mike's board game hour, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Always fun.
Yeah. Let's play with the mechs on the table. That's fun. And then 2 to 4, we're going to do an actual play of Kung Fu Panda led by Jason, and we're still putting together some cast. If you tuned in yesterday, Steve Wrigley is a comedian, and he got to play Guardians of the Four Winds with Quincy.
Nice.
So he's going to come back and play Kung Fu Panda, and I think he's also going to stay after and do Shadowrun Anarchy 2.0. And I know Kung Fu Panda is also going to have Sarah Moore from Pixies and Pins and Sarah's Table from back in the Gen Con TV era. She did a lot there. And then Anarchy, I'm still putting together a cast. So, but I think Steve Wrigley's going to be there. Quincy might come, but it's dependent on how exhausted he's feeling. So.
But it's also a testament to Anarchy, how you can be getting all the people together at the end right there and still be able to get set up, ready, and put on a fantastic show.
Yeah,
it's
Anarchy is so easy to do now. The only thing I need to do between now and then is get some character sheets printed. So go back to the hotel for that.
Cool.
Yeah. So you've had a busy convention so far.
A little bit. We keep busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Michael, what is your job?
That is an excellent question that you have right there. So, for many, many years, I was considered minister without portfolio. I would do what needed to be done, and that was about the size of things. That unofficially morphed into Hotel Czar, as we know, a bunch of years ago. I was 25 years in the hotel industry as a general manager, so had some fun with that. Got us some good rooms, took care of things, and then they made the terrible and weird decision to let me write novels, which is always interesting, and that's what I do now. But for Catalyst, I am technically our events manager, which is a fascinating, interesting world to be in because we've got an events team, we've got a booth team, and, of course, we've got the Catalyst demo team, which is an independent group of volunteer agents who help support our events, who come out to our major conventions, who go to our friendly local game stores and fire bases and show off the games, doing league play, doing organized play, doing prize support, and doing a whole bunch of other things. Now, that is super interesting because I wear the two very, very different hats. I am super duper Catalyst employee who does A, B, and C. That falls over some of these areas. And then I am the head of the volunteer team, which just is a very interesting hair to split. And sometimes, depending on what shirt I am wearing, what hat I am wearing, or anything else, it's a little bit confusing what we're looking at. But it's also given us unprecedented levels of access that we've never had in the past before. Regularly, I'm on all the Battletech meetings, some of the Shadowrun meetings, Leviathan's meetings, and new product meetings, including with our board game team, so we can stay apprised of what's coming out before we just drop it on the table at the conventions.
You're learning this now. Awesome. So how, coming to PAX, it takes a lot to make all of this happen. So what is your involvement in getting the booth set up, or hotels for everyone, or the demo area ready to go and staffed? How do? Depends
very, very greatly on the convention. PAX is a very open convention. Nearly everything's in one area. You've got RPG rooms in other sections. You've got other companies' private rooms in other sections, which is interesting. But for many years, we were running out of the open play area there. So we didn't have our own tables. We couldn't really do any signage until we were there and on property. Very, very different from an Origins or a Gen Con, where we've either got everything in a massive, huge booth, or, such as Gen Con, we've got two Shadowrun rooms. We've got demos in a third room. We've got a massive, one of the largest single sections of the Gen Con gaming area, with over 40 to 50 tables, the Battletech pods going, and everything else you could ask for. So for a convention like PAX, I work and I take care of the hotels. So I negotiate with the hotels or with the convention itself to find us some good rooms at a good price. Then we work to find the space that we need as a demo team. And I work hand in hand with Bryn Bills, who is our convention master for doing the booths. And we'll find out the space that he needs, what will be in there, figure out product, work directly with the directors on that, and, of course, figure out what new things we're showing off, like Battletech Aces is our big one for PAX Unplugged.
It is?
Yeah, if you heard about that, folks, a little bit like that.
I just like peeking and seeing the pile get smaller.
Significantly so.
Yeah.
Come, if you are on property, please get your Battletech Aces soon. We are running healthily, comfortably low.
Yeah.
So that is good. But also then we need to make the tournaments work like that. We do some fun stuff like our Trial of Birthright. Trial of Bloodright. Trial of Birthright's a different thing. I should know better. I, of all people, should know better. The Battletech Open, Solaris Melee Challenge, and a bunch of new formats and events, sometimes just recreating some of the battles of the past, which is always fun. We've got Learn to Plays, we've got Leviathans, we've got everything.
So, already, for any convention, there's all of these different Battletech game types that you are running, and now with Aces, do you need more space to be able to run this new version of co-op and solo? And
more space, potentially. Aces is very contained, which is one of the charms right there. You can do everything solo play. We could do it on a card table, as we have right here. Or you need we can do the full terrain and take up as much space as we would like there. We're always looking for more space is the battle. And with any of our conventions, we are very, very blessed to work with Gen Con, PAX, having been one of their first teams to be on property to find some nice space. But we are always looking for more space. We are always looking for new conventions and new opportunities. And, of course, more people.
Yeah.
This year we brought nearly 150 agents to Gen Con, which is huge. We've currently got 25 agents here, exclusive of the booth staff, which is our biggest presence at PAX use ever, and it's only going to get bigger year by year. We've got
awesome.
Alpha Strike, Aces, Leviathans, Shadowrun running right now, and just bigger and better.
It is really neat to see, this is my third PAX, and seeing it grow year to year. This is like a convention that's just, I think we doubled last year, and the floor is 20% bigger this year, and so there's more and more vendors, but it's also more and more lucrative for us So seeing kind of how that shifts and shapes every year is interesting.
Well, even more interesting, I think you remember this one. I'm looking at that pillar that's right on the other side right there, and we were on the other side of that our first year here with the booth in a slightly different orientation. The last few years, we have been further at the end of the gaming area so we can get everyone just as they come in. We're back to our old spot, and you literally cannot see the end of the event hall.
Yeah.
We are used to being the tail end there. No, we are dead smack in the heart of things, and we are packed. I'm not sure if any of you can see it as we go past, but we are packed today. Today is Saturday. They've been sold out for months on 3 days badges, and even more so on Saturday now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's definitely an exciting time to see everything grow and shift and change. I know we're close to like 9th level games and Roll-A-Crit, and plenty of our friends and peers. Smirk and Dagger is right on the other side of this banner. So it's cool to see the industry kind of come to life here and see the show grow. So awesome. So we've got all of these events. How do you choose which events are going to be here based on the space that we have reserved or are able to get? Or, like, how do you ask for more, I guess? And then, like, how do you have a certain number of agents and then plan the day around that? Or do you have a certain number of events and then plan the agents around that?
All things begin, as with so many things with Catalyst, with the rule of cool.
Okay.
What is new? What is exciting? What do people love to play? If you come to any of our conventions, you're going to see grinders. They are our most popular format where you can jump in, pick up a mech immediately. Every time you get killed, you jump into a bigger mech and just earn points and earn stickers, which is always fun and an exciting time. Every convention, no matter the size, can handle a grinder, and it is fun.
Awesome.
From there, we usually have 2 to 4 grinders running. Then we do any of the hotspot events right there, such as showing off aces or alpha strike scenarios, which is fun. And then, depending on what space we've got, we'll continue from there. We've got a little chart of some of our tournament level items that you only see at our Tier 1 conventions, like Gen Con. And then we've got some things that we will try to do everywhere if we can. Then we go back to our magical team of 5,500 plus agents and see who's willing to come out, who is nearby, who needs space, and what we can do. Like what we've seen right here, we've done this convention with 2 agents. We've done this convention with 15. Now we're doing it with 25, and we'll probably need more every year.
Wow.
It's great to be part of the agent program. Earns you points for things, earns you opportunities, the first chance to buy some of these things, and the support and access that many cannot boast there.
Yeah, and I know the swag has been in high demand in the past that you get. So, like, depending on your hours, you get a T-shirt, or sometimes there's been really cool stuff like a backpack and things.
Your fan roll dice scrolls that you made for us, they were beautiful. We're still giving those out, and we love those.
Awesome. I'm so glad. I had a question and it left. This happened yesterday to me too. I'm just fried, I think. I'm ready to hibernate from conventions for the winter, I think, but
we're almost there. We just need to get through this
close.
one.
Mechanical Frog has a question. What's your favorite new mech in the Aces box?
Ooh, I'm loving this gorgeous Marauder 2C. It is beautiful. I was saying just the crispness of the lines. It's always fun. I love it. Although the Bane, so many missiles.
That's a lot of missiles.
So much pain from so far away. Yeah, no, once again, I'm so excited about Battletech Aces. Josh Derrickson is brilliant. I have been part of this project. Actually, I was on the team that helped pick out some of the names for the boxes, which was fun. In a hotel lobby, oddly enough there. But this is a game changer, being able to address the number one issue that many of people have had, which is sometimes they just can't find people to play with. Thanks to the gloriousness of the Aces aspect, you can pick up Battletech and put it on your table at any point.
So if I want to be a demo agent, how do I apply?
You go to, we've got a Google Doc up on the Catalyst Demo Team website. This is a Google website at this time. We are actually working on a brand new website, partnered with a new friend who we will talk about very, very shortly right there. And we are making it all integrated. We once had a very, very cool website which allowed you to report events, connect to fire bases, connect to some of our fans. We did have to update that. That was going on 20 years old right now in about 3 companies, so always something we needed to work on a little bit. But no, we're really excited to be making such movement and to do some fun, exciting new partnership opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so once I become an agent, how do I let you know that, like, I live in the Chicago area, so think of me for those events, and then also I would love to travel the country and just run events or run Battletech or run Shadowrun. How do I let you know or get chosen to be one of those agents that gets to come play?
Well, it's dual route right there. Number one, all this information will go on the Google Sheet when you sign up, so you can ask us those questions. We get your address, your generalized address, so we know where you are, so we can keep you on in the loop as we switch to more of a regional structure. So we've got regional leads who will let you know, hey, you're in the upstate New York area. We've got a huge program here, here, and here in the state. What one are you closest to? Do you want to know about the other two? Back during some of the happiest years in the past of organized play, you used to go from store to store to store to try to win the limited edition prize support, because they did one event on Saturday, same event on Sunday, same one the next Tuesday. It could be a lot of fun, and it was really enjoyable. So aside from the regional portion of things, you also can tell us whether you want to be one of our Tier 1 agents traveling to some of our big conventions. We actually have a brand new agent who is here on their second convention. They went with us to Nova, which was absolutely lovely, down by DC, and is now here in Pennsylvania.
Cool.
So we've got people who are going all around. We're also working on a ground team for some of the new, more hypothetical conventions we're going to right there, where we can say, hey, I need a team of 5. It's me and a team of 5 dropping. Let's see what we can do. Let's see how it works. And is this something we want to bring a bigger group to?
Awesome. I like that a lot, so that we can start to expand our presence. So let's talk about our new partnership with XP Network, because that's going to allow for a lot.
Who?
It's too early for your crap.
I didn't see any marketing on this.
Oh,
snap.
Oh, he's ready to start a war here.
I absolutely am, ladies and gentlemen. Always fun. I love my REM mornings. But yes. The glare I'm getting. I'll never be invited back. My plan works. No.
It's because of the headset, I know.
Oh, yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, it is the headset. Once again, beating up on Tommy Gofton and my lack of customized headset for my fat head. Thank you. I appreciate you, Tommy. But back to XP Network. We are partnering with a brand new company, XP Network, that's specializing in organized play, tournament systems right there, and being able to integrate with our store and various other things. This is beautiful on a number of levels. For me, I'm so excited because it gives us the opportunity to securely work with our fire bases, some of our friendly local game stores, in our new Firebase program from many years ago that we're revamping, so that you can play all of our games and lines in your friendly local game store. Know the schedule. You can sign up for it. You do not need to pay for tickets. Some conventions do that. The system can do that. But most of our stuff is free. But you can sign up. You can know when events are. You can get weekly updates. And the best part to everything, you can earn XP points. XP points gets very, very complicated when you look at the whole system. But for us, if you get Catalyst XP points for running or attending Catalyst events, or doing super things like watching Tuesday Newsday, you will be able to redeem that for discounts and stuff. Not just the individuals, but the stores.
Yeah.
So once again, you can have prize support sent to your store. You can have, I earned a force pack for volunteering at all these conventions right there. Have it shipped to your store for free in their next order. We can do all of these fun things for you, and it's really exciting.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see also how this can expand for like supporting so many of our agents run events at their stores. And yes, you can log events or have been able in the past to log events, but now this is something that's so structured. And it allows us to see data too, where it's like, okay, well, how many events is a certain store running, and how many people are going? Wow, this store, runs an event for 50 people a week. How do we support them better? So it really allows visibility for us into these stores and the event organizers to see how it can grow.
Yeah, and I didn't want to interrupt you there, but two very important things right there that lets us track. We can see which stores are doing the most events for us right there. So when we do fun things like another Kickstarter and want to do more international parties or other things, we'll know who our real supportive groups are with those teams.
Yep.
That's data we had previously, but now we can see it on a daily basis and really track it.
Mm-hmm.
And another fun thing, a little shout out here to Bruce Ford, one of our agents right there, who is coming up on event number 999.
What?
We are planning something special for his 1000th event right there. We worked directly with the developers. He is in the loop right there. But 999 events. Most of our agents, every agent is required to do at least one event a year, but at that same point, and that was even before we added in our staff agents who've got so much else to do and all those fun things. But no, we've run over 30,000 events over the course of the program right there at conventions, at stores, at everything else, and we're only getting bigger. We are across the globe now, and we are getting nearly 50 to 60 applications for agents a week, which we're still catching up on.
Wow.
So stay tuned.
Awesome. That's super exciting. You can even, if you want, sign up for xpnetwork.com right now. But we are going to be doing a big launch event. It's called the Spotlight Week for Catalyst on the first week of December, so that's coming up. And basically all our events are going to be double XP. If you do each of the events, it's Monday through Friday. If you do each of the events that are on the list, you end up getting like $10 off in credit on the online store. So
we are giving levels of XP points for this event that none of the other partners have put out yet. I put that as a challenge to the rest of you. I love giving away points. I want to give them to everyone that we can who does cool things with us. So please take advantage of everything for our launch week, which is the week of December 1st. December 1st. So first week of December, stick around, watch our stuff, watch Tuesday Newsday, one of your best sources of information right there, and keep track of all your various things, our emails, our newsletters, and preferably your local demo agent who should also know what's going on.
And we have, if you go to store.catalystgamelabs.com or just catalystgamelabs.com, you get, we have a blog post that explains all of this, that gives you some links so that you know where to go and what to look out for. So,
yes, indeed.
Whew.
Woo.
Whew. That's so exciting. Now, if you guys have any questions for Michael, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We are a little past time, but I want to give Michael the opportunity to address anything else that we haven't covered, and give you guys a chance to ask any questions before we switch over to our next panel.
Although I believe also the next panel is
fiction.
So I'll probably still be here too.
Yeah.
So any CDT related questions or just general questions that I may tell you the answer to.
Awesome.
Lauren's not here to just drop something randomly, so maybe I'll make an announcement of things.
Yep.
Rem's changing her hair color. News at 12.
Fox Network, I'm looking forward to authors. When is that happening? I see you.
Fox Network? Who are those?
So let's do one more time the schedule for today. We've got coming up next is Fiction, How It's Done.
Helfers and Friend.
And then we've got the RPG, RPGs, How It's Done. So we'll have Jason Hardy and RJ Thomas. Then we've got at 1 o'clock Quincy and Mike's Board Game Hour. Then we've got 2 to 4 is going to be Jason Hardy running Kung Fu Panda with a fun cast. And then 4 to 6, we're going to do a little Shadowrun Anarchy with a fun cast. So
is Jason going to be in costume?
I don't think so.
Full panda suit.
That would be fun.
That would be very fun.
But
Put it in your request.
One of the players can play Poe, so we can get a player to go in.
I've got a
suit.
panda suit budget.
Awesome. Awesome.
They don't know what things cost.
All right. Well, cool. I do see one question. Is there chat going on about a separate urban Alpha Strike terrain in the same style as the Aces box cardboard terrain? Do you know anything about that?
Terrain is actually a super conversation that we are having right now. We've been talking quite a bit about all the options, both terrain in general and more of this gorgeous cardboard and punchboard terrain that we've been using for our events and for Alpha Strike, which has been absolutely really upping the visuals of the game. So
awesome.
There are some great conversations going. We're always open to some more opportunities too. So if you've got some suggestions, let us know. And the biggest reminder that I love to give people is give us your feedback. Tell us what you like. That gives us a lot of opportunity to focus on those areas and continue forward.
Awesome.
We only have so many priorities we can do, but when we know, we know.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. Thank you guys for being here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some fiction. See you soon.
Thank you, Rem. Have fun. Welcome back, everyone, to Catalyst Game Labs and the Six Sides of Gaming streaming team. We are here live at PAX Unplugged. For all of you who do not know who I am, where have you been? I'm Michael Ciravella. I am events manager for Catalyst Game Labs. I also happen to be one of the authors, which is fun and exciting when you don't think that I'm surrounded by even better authors you are very interested in hearing from, more importantly. As always, for Helfers and Friend, as we call this segment, we have John Helfers, executive editor.
Pleasure to be here, Michael.
Thank you, thank you. A special surprise that I'm super excited for. We have Jim Long, author of some of my favorite BattleTech books, and Jason Hardy, who once read a BattleTech book.
Also a writer of stuff.
Including Shadowrun and BattleTech.
And BattleTech.
One of my very special hybrid authors, yes.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
One of your special hybrid authors. Authors who are special and hybrid.
And what have you written for me for Shadowrun yet?
Plenty of things that you haven't published yet.
That's
so that is
also
good.
true.
That is also true. All right, so just focusing in, we are talking about fiction today, and a little bit differently than what we've been doing previously. We are going to talk with each of our guests for the purposes of what they're doing now and fun and exciting stuff. But, as I'm sure Rem did not tell John, the focus of this segment is actually to look behind the curtain a little bit to see how things get done. How do books get made? Do you know how books get made, John?
Yes. You people,
Are you sure?
You people tap them out on a keyboard and you hand them to me. I make them into scintillating prose and then publish them.
I believe
that sounds about right.
That sounds about right, too.
Sounds about
That's
right.
the process
I'm
that
not
we've got
familiar
here.
with that process at all.
The Helfers method,
I'm
as
still
we're looking
breaking
at.
you in, Jason.
But
Let me jump in here, actually, because this is a question I've always been very interested in. And yes, Rem did inform me that that's what we're doing. And I want to start with Jim, because I always love hearing these stories. How did you come up with a concept for the Blackthorns?
Oh, wow. Okay. So remember, this was 33 years ago. And I could
wasn't
not
going to date you that way.
Yeah, I was
okay?
going to say, I couldn't
Totally
tell you what
up
I
to
had
you.
for breakfast, let alone what I did 33 years ago. But what happened was, at the time, I was a huge BattleTech player. And so Michael Sackpole he had been defining so much of the political content and so much of the world and the universe and these big overarching concepts. And I'd never written a novel in my life, and I realized I had to be small, if you will.
Yep.
And so all I knew was the game and how much damage a PPC did and how much heat an LRM did. And so I'm like, okay, that I know. I'm super comfortable with that. So I said, it's got to be at the company level. It's got to be almost at the Lance level, because that's all I understand.
Right.
So when I did the design of the units, Jeremiah Rose originally started out as a Native American, because that's a little bit of my heritage. So in my initial proposal, he was Native American, trying to find his way in the Northwind Highlanders, and then suddenly it kind of turned. I found out about the Clan invasion and Chukiad and some of the things there, and I said, well, former Comstar guy, that sounds kind of interesting to me. And honestly, they were defining so many things were so fluid. They said, just be vague right now, and you can be we can hone in on it and focus on it a little bit later. So again, at the end of the day, I was just able to be vague about the things that were still being defined and precise about, okay, you just got hit in the head with a PPC, what happened?
Right.
But
they were already well into the Clan invasion, because, of course, the Blackthorns became kind of clan hunters.
Yes.
And, of course, we're talking about the seminal novels, Main Event and DRT. And I think we might as well make the announcement, Jim, that we're welcoming Jim back to the fold with we have 2 novels that are currently in play that you've given me pitches for, have been accepted. And as soon as we get kind of an idea of when those are more closer to being completed, they'll be on the schedule. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them.
But in the meantime, we also have, short fiction. Well, the free fiction will be coming out in the anthology. We did Danger Close earlier this year. That'll be an anthology in January. And we've got more stories from you coming up. There's going to be another story next year in the free fiction program. And I think we're putting you in Shrapnel 25, if I'm not mistaken. I think we're going to tap one of those.
Awesome. That's good info. That's good info to have.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's a big double issue, so we need lots of authors to fill that one.
Awesome.
So we're talking about the meat and potatoes, pulling back the curtain, how the sausage is made. Mm-hmm. Let me do a very quick précis of what's called work made for hire. And that is when all these authors pitch us ideas for stories in the Battletech, Shadowrun, Leviathans, whatever universe that already exists, they have to sign a contract what's known as work made for hire, which means they don't have any rights to that material. Whereas if they all, and I'm sure you all have written original work, that you own yourselves. But because you're creating a project or you're using, even though Jim created the Blackthorns, he doesn't own the Blackthorns. He can't do anything with it outside the Battletech universe because the license exists already. The property is in existence already. He's adding to it, but he has to sign over all publishing and pretty much literary rights to the IP owner. So that's a very important distinction. So if you like owning what you create, work made for hire may not be for you. But I have plenty of Battletech fans and Shadowrun fans who don't mind that. They just like to play in the universe. So I'm going to throw this open to all three of you. When you sit down to craft a story, whether it's Battletech, Shadowrun, or what have you, where do you begin? Because these universes are huge. I mean, there's 40 years of lore for Battletech. There's 35 years of lore for Shadowrun. And I'm pretty agnostic because I once want a good story, so I like to give my authors a lot of leeway to hang themselves. I mean, to give me a good story. But what's your starting point? And I'll throw it, anyone can answer that one. So
usually I find something in the source book that kind of catches my attention. It might be a character, it might be a place. A lot of times it's a place, and then I think about what would someone be doing in that situation. So when we did way back a long time ago, the Feral City source book, it talked about this 12-kilometer bridge in Lagos, Nigeria, and it talked about all the difficulties of crossing the bridge and the broken parts and the pirates that had taken over part of it. And I thought, could I write a whole novel of a crew just trying to cross this 12-kilometer bridge? And I did, and John was foolish enough to publish it. And then I'm working on a Battletech novel now, and that one I kind of reverse engineered it rather than coming across something and going, oh, this would be a good book. I thought, let me go find something in the source book that I think would be interesting. So I looked through some of the latest source books for Battletech and just waited for that moment that would say, oh, this is a cool thing. And once I found the Malthus Confederation, that was basically a group of gangsters trying to run a bunch of planets, I'm like, okay, that's where I'm going to start. And now I just got to find a fun situation involving them, and found some other stuff in the source book and then started to run off from there.
Yeah, I think the source books are often, I want to say, an overlooked opportunity. Thank you for that answer, Jason. That just, it's a plethora of plot hooks, not only for games, but for writing as well. Absolutely. Michael, Jim, anything to add on that?
Jordan Weissman, when I first started writing, called them, we have these Karinsky's scattered throughout all our source books that are things that maybe just one sentence in a source book that could be expounded upon or not. And so Karinsky leaving the inner sphere being the biggest of them, decide if someone's excited by this, then go ahead and write. For me, though, I tend to start with the character, either the exceptional man in the common circumstance or just the opposite, the common man in an exceptional circumstance. And I've tried to maybe be a little more of the latter. The Clan Invasion, when I was writing about those, was such an unusual, exceptional circumstance that what does a normal mech warrior, low-level commander,
right,
how does he respond to something like that when he's suddenly overwhelmed? And the Blackthorns were my response to trying to make heads or tails of your new environment.
Literally a universe turned upside down.
Exactly,
with the invasion.
exactly.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yep.
Michael?
Well, I agree with everything that was said there. And once again, I think back to DRT and just fun character-based and small-scale events. One of the big things we've been talking a lot about is in the age of the mercenary, getting back to small units, getting back to, we saw a little bit of that in the Dark Age. We saw a little bit, but now we're still continuing. It's maybe not be company on company, may not be galaxy on galaxy. But it's also, for me, mostly finding a problem and trying to fix it. Mostly one that you start.
Wow.
Because John will call me and say, hey, Michael, you super fan, what are we doing about this? How did we get from here to there? Which has gotten me on far too many calls with Ray and John at 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
But also that usually leads to, okay, we need to figure out what this is, that one line in the source book that turns into, how did we get from there to there? How did we just jump into 3152? How did we do that next step?
Right.
And all the bits and pieces.
And a lot of times, sometimes it is the editor going to approaching an author and say, hey, I need a book written about this. We just did Blood Will Rise. That's the second one, because Blood Will Tell is the first one. And I went to the author Tom Levine and said, I need a Capellan novel continuing what Jason Spencer had done in Blood Will Tell, and he did a superb job. And he had a little bit more constraints because we need Deny, and we need her here and doing this, and this. And he stepped up to the plate and did a fantastic job. So sometimes projects are assigned, and that can also be a good way for an author to kind of like take a swing at a larger story. But yes, problem solving. I like to think that my authors are all very smart and very good at that too. So when I need to call on them, that they oftentimes will come through. So, and Bad Faith was a classic example of that one too, where you pitched me kind of a half legal novel set in Shadowrun, but also tying into the main meta plot, which I'm going to get to right now. I was like, this is perfect. It's something we don't see in Shadowrun very much, and you're also helping get the meta plot onto kind of the fiction scene too. So, and I'm going to segue right into that because, of course, BattleTech and Shadowrun have bigger events happening against the backdrop of I'm going to play this campaign or I'm going to play this tabletop scenario. And how do you guys handle, like, do you like to incorporate meta plot? Is it what the story needs, and can I incorporate elements of the meta plot, or I'm just going to go off on my own, or is it just like what do I need to do at the moment for the story? How do you incorporate elements of the meta plot into your story? If you want, do you want to all the time, or how do you do it?
Yeah, I usually want to do at least some all the time, just because that helps keep it in touch with the rest of the gaming line and make sure that people are aware of what's going on in the rest of the world. It's the degree to which you do it.
Yeah.
For like Hell on Water, that was fairly light. Bad Faith was heavier. That one did start with the character of what would happen if a Shadowrunner got to be a lawyer. How would that work? And building from there. But I actually had that idea 5-6 years ago. But we've been working on the Dis meta plot for so long that I just, in my head, incorporated it in different stages for who the big bads would be and how they'd reveal. And just rather than get it at the front end of the plot line by the time it came out, it was at the end of the plot line. And it just...
So that
was just how the MacGuffin worked and how big reveals at the end worked.
Right. What you handled excellently, by the way. There's a lot packed in that book, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. It's progressed very well. And like, hey, this is what's going on. It's kind of like a little, almost a capsule of the Dissian meta plot that you managed very well. So I was very happy to have that one.
There's some noir aspect to that. If you look at some of my favorite noir books, they start with the small incident and then it builds to the bigger conspiracy. And so
right.
It just went to a really big conspiracy.
Yeah. Now, Jim, you touched on setting your books during the clan invasion, that there was a lot to kind of ingest, especially for you. So was Main Event really your first novel?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Yeah, that was quite
done.
I was very fortunate that they decided, FOSA said that we're going to throw up the 6th book in the first 6th deal. We're going to make the 6th book we're going to give it to a newcomer, just someone who's never done it, and they asked for pitches and and I'd never done it before, but super interested in the IP, and Jason hit the nail on the head. It is so fertile that as you're doing things, day to day, new stuff is coming out that sparks your imagination. And so I didn't know how to write a novel. So I wrote, the requirement was an outline and a sample chapter. With sample chapter, I think ended up becoming actually chapter maybe 3 in the book. I can't remember, but my outline was like 24 pages because I didn't know how to write an outline for a novel. I didn't know what they need, and I want to be sure they understood what so I laughingly said all I had to do is take my outline and insert 5 words between each word I wrote in the outline, and then I had pretty much had the whole thing
you were
done.
most of the way there.
Mostly
yes,
there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as we did that, everything is in such flux, and there's so many truly talented creative people that are providing pieces of information on the meta, on the specifics. And so when you get to do that, again, Jason's absolutely right that things that I thought would be at the beginning ended up being towards the end, or not even at all. Some of the stories I've worked on with you, and you came back and said, I'd like to see a thing about this, and you think it's 100 words, but it turns out to be 1,500 words, or you think it's just maybe it's 1,500 words, and it turns out to be another, if you really want to explore it, it turns out to be another short story. And so, and that's partially a reflection of writing, but it's another reflection of like there's just so much meat on the bone.
Right.
And there's so many
Right.
things you can do as an author that's just, the idea that I don't own any of this never entered my mind as a reason not to do the next thing. It's
Right.
just such a blast to be able to play in this giant sandbox. And then every now and then something like this shows up and you go, I could never do something like this on my own. And so again, that's the backside of being with in a sandbox where other people are playing is cool things happen that really surprise you in a really, really good way.
Yep. Now, Michael, of course, we landed a lot of metaplot on you with Trial of Birthright.
I was just going to say, and I wrote it down, you're bad and you should be feeling bad. Jim touched on this a bit, too, right there. There are a lot of great authors, Brian Young, who does fantastic character-driven, lovely, lovely pieces. And then there's an editor who dumps on, Michael, figure out how to lose and get back New Avalon in the first third of a book. Don't make that the denouement. No. Figure out, have it happen in the first half of the first third of the book, and then keep it interesting for another 2/3 of the book.
I think I just asked, give us a summary, because that would have already been going on for several years in game time.
That is fair.
Yes.
And that's the same editor who came back and said, make Alaric likable.
I don't know if I was that strong.
That wasn't going to happen either.
just said return to Terra after 3 years of being away and tell us everything that's going on.
And that was my
Super
outline.
easy, barely an inconvenience.
But no, exactly that. Sometimes the metaplot is vital to most of the novels that I've had to work on right there, because mine were either battle-focused for the New Highlander books right there,
Yep.
or, once again, trying to hit these key points of the post-Dark Age Ill-Clan era right there, which is we're moving forward after 10 years in real life of lots of gaps that source books helped us broach at that point. But once again, that's a very digested area. It doesn't give you an idea of the characters, the people. And we've been doing that on a whole bunch of books. We've got a lot of other fantastic authors working on some fun and exciting stuff coming out right now that John could tell you more better than I, but trying to flesh out where we are in the current history, plus being able to go back to some of our classic timelines and timelines we haven't been able to touch yet.
Hint, hint, yes. Yes.
That should very, very much be delved into.
You are correct. The Jihad, since I'm getting the stink eye from Michael, is one of those that went on for a very, very long time and did not have any real fiction associated with it except maybe in the source books. And we're going to be exploring that. I know I keep teasing it, but I swear we are actually going to do it. I was talking with Michael about it, who's very, very excited about that aspect of it. But I'm always interested in stories across all the eras of BattleTech, not to focus on that all the time. For example, you're still setting why don't we talk about Blackthorns, which are still going to be in the clan invasion, right, Jim?
Correct. What we have tentatively agreed upon is that we'll go ahead and look at the Blackthorns as best I can find through scouring the source books and the material. Been a couple paragraphs about a couple contracts that have happened afterwards, including their rumored demise, and how do we actually put some meat on that bone and understand what happened on those two contracts that got them to where they were at that point.
Exactly. So that's a classic example of you had to go and kind of refresh yourself because you've been away for a while, and you're like, okay, what was done in my absence?
Right.
And figure out now how am I going to fit this into the larger narrative too.
Exactly. And going back and rereading DRT again and going, wow, that's at one level it's like an old friend, but on another level it's like as an old friend you were good friends in college, and now you've kind of grown your separate ways, but you're trying to you want to rekindle that relationship, and there's some stuff in there that I'm like, oh, that's actually a pretty good paragraph. I hope I wrote that and not the editor. I actually like that paragraph, and then a little bit later I'm kind of cringy and going, oh, maybe I'd handle that a little bit different now as I'm a little bit older, but yeah, revisiting that stuff, and for me coming in. So much era stuff and making sure I don't inadvertently the Mercenary Review Board, the Mercenary Bonding or Commission, and the Mercenary Guild, and making sure that my story is appropriate, so I'm not making the editors crazy with going, does this guy even know BattleTech? He's mixing his eras, he's mixing his names.
Who's this long guy?
Exactly.
No. We have a great fact check team that will go over and make sure, because nobody can keep
track
of
all. So if I just put XXX, the XXX commission, that's.
If you want to mark it that way, they will look up and say, at this time it would be this.
Okay.
So there you go.
A little note that says Eric ?
Yeah.
Thank you, fact check. We love you.
Please,
yes.
I could not do this work without them.
Including titles and chapter headings that go like, the Danger Close. I think the first draft actually said XXX because I don't know what to call this. So John ended up titling it, which I really appreciate. Sometimes some things for authors are flow a little bit easy. I really find my biggest problem with dialogue is I tend to be too verbose, and suddenly I've written 3 pages of yes, no. What do you mean that? No, I really mean that. And suddenly you're like, and 3 pages have gone by.
5 pages later.
Exactly, and they're still having the same argument. But titles, man, titles. I know there's probably people within the sound of my voice that are better at writing titles than I am.
Well, didn't you want to call what became Danger Close? What was it?
Boom.
Boom. Yes.
Boom.
I'm like, I think we can do better.
Boom. Needs more O's.
Needs more O's. As many O's as will fit. Yes.
Only if we get to write at the bottom, boom, the sequel to DRT.
There you go. So now, Jim, between your first books and coming back, did you kind of keep your hand in writing? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So Randall would ping me every couple of years to go. We did the 25th anniversary. We did some things like
fiction,
that. So
right.
He would reach out and say, do you have the opportunity to do a 5,000-word piece, a 6,000-word piece? You have something to do a little. And so he would. And Randall and I have worked together and been friends forever, it feels like. And so if he called me up and say, hey, I've got a thing, would you be interested? The answer was always yes. How much time do I have, and what are you looking for? And then spend 99% of the time given reading and catching up and making sure. And then the last part is, all right, let's get in here and type it all up.
So, yeah, when you turn in those stories, it's like you hadn't missed a beat. Now I know why. Do you think your writing style has evolved or changed in any significant way since those 2 early books?
Yes. Hopefully I've grown as a person in the last 30 years. So in the interim, I've written 4.5 novels that on Amazon, which are under pen names.
Okay.
I say the half novel. I paused to do the BattleTech stuff, but I've written, and so just that creative process, and just the more I read, the more I read in the BattleTech universe, and I'm a huge fan of Shadowrun. I've been lucky enough to do some game material in the Shadowrun side, so having that ability to springboard off of some of the things that different folks are doing, I think I'm a better writer now than I was. I think my style has changed a little bit in that I'm much more, if I was character-driven before, I'm hyper-character-driven now, because I want to know why. Like one of the stories we're working on right now, there is a character whose name is Discount. And Discount is his call sign, and Discount is what everybody calls him, and everyone calls him that because he looks like a discount version of a very famous person in the BattleTech universe. And he secretly hates it, but he embraces it, even though it hurts his feelings every time he hears the name. But that's who he is, and he's trying to reconcile with that. Well, we've all had those inner conflicts of things like, how do I find my way in the world, and how do I embrace long ago I had a character in not a source book, but in an adventure book for Interceptor in Renegade Legion, and her name was Goose because she had a big nose, and everyone called her Goose, and she leaned into it, and she was going to be the best goose she could be, and that was like this many words.
Right.
Well, now I've got a whole character. Okay, I got to.
What can I do with them?
Exactly. What can I do with that?
And for folks who are watching this right now, we're talking a lot about character, which some people may find odd because you think of BattleTech, you think of big stompy robots. However, without compelling characters, without characters you care about and you want to follow their adventures and you get invested in them emotionally and see what happens to them, without those characters at the heart of any BattleTech story or any story in general, Shadowrun or what have you, you don't really have an effective story. And I really feel strongly like that as an editor. So to hear all of you talk about I'm very invested in character really warms my cold black editor's heart, because then I know I'm going to get a good story out of all of you.
Well, I was fortunate to design a good hunk of the 2750 technical readout.
Okay.
So, ton of mechs that have been around for a long time, ton of the technologies that have been around, aerospace fighters, capital ships, etc. And those are interesting, but those are interesting the way a magical sword is interesting. If a fighter is holy, it's going to be part of the plot. It's going to be part of the story, but the real part is the guy holding the sword, the guy in the cockpit. So
the guy at the controls. Right.
Right.
So, Jason, I know you've been writing for a while, and you've done a lot. So, and also some of your own work as well. Do you feel your style has evolved or changed over the years, and if so, how?
I mean, I would hope so, because I hope I'm trying to make it better all the time. It's a weird balance, because I know a lot of the times I'm trying to get leaner. I'm trying to just cut right to the point, keep the prose strip down.
Well, I know you have a very kind of a noir viewpoint, which is usually very stripped down, very lean prose too. So I think that influences your work.
Absolutely. But then there's the balance of trying to not get too stripped down and not leave out some of the details. So it's trying to make sure I convey enough details, but only the telling details. And that's a continual tension. So working in that, hopefully I get better and better at it as I go. But yeah, I do like to keep it lean, but also really evocative and not miss the chance to evoke something and leave it too much as a blank slate.
Okay.
So hopefully I get better at that.
Yeah. And Michael, I know you've also been writing for a while too before you kicked the door down and broke in for BattleTech. How do you feel your style is now as compared to when you first started, and has it evolved, and if so, how?
Well, I thought originally I was getting paid by the word, so I wasn't writing so thinly or carefully. When I came to the realization that was not true, I suddenly had two 80,000-word tomes in John's hand, which is a whole different issue.
Which he pitched to me. I want to make that very clear.
That's fair. But no, I really feel that BattleTech has helped me to get a better idea of what I want to be as a writer, stories I want to tell, and working with such great, amazing writers right there. Being able to work with Michael Stackpole on a wonderful basis, who is a characterization master in multiple areas. And we have beautiful, beautiful conversations because a lot of what he did early with the Warrior trilogy, that sort of big scale
set
stuff.
Up everything,
Not only set up everything, but set up some of the stuff that I've needed to write recently.
Right.
But still with such a rich and interesting characters. And as we've seen recently, going into these new eras, we've had to create new characters. Creating something like Jeremiah Rose from the very beginning right there. This is a lot of our authors have had the opportunity to build off of what we've had before and see what we're looking at, but we're entering new eras, new timelines where some of these characters have passed away. Some of them have moved on. How do you create someone new, and how do we keep people engaged without having a main character who's been alive for 140 years?
Look, Stone eventually got killed. I believe that was one of Jason's first BattleTech novels.
Victor Steiner-Davian, yeah.
It was actually who I was poking at right there. Victor Steiner-Davian was great.
That's correct.
41 books later, it's still...
I mean, Stone did die eventually, but that was a whole other thing.
That's a whole other
thing. Quiet, you. So let's go from character and something else that, of course, is a hallmark of BattleTech, and that is combat. And there, I think, is certainly an art to writing a good combat scene or a battle scene. And I'm curious, as only so many times you can have rivulets of molten armor splashing on the ground, or certain descriptors, death from above or whatever. When you all approach a battle scene that you know is coming, how do you approach it to give it your individual flair and make sure that it is set apart from? I mean, we've done now literally probably thousands of them. Hundreds for sure, over 125 novels and novellas, and so when you approach that, how do you want to? Because you want to make it, put your own stamp on it. How do you make it yours?
I would say, and this is one thing that's really changed in my writing style, is that one, I want to be. I remember reading an early BattleTech book, and a medium mech got hit in the chest 5 times with PPC blast, and he was worried that one more shot and his armor was going to be gone.
Wow!
And I thought, okay, very compelling in terms of writing, but a disconnect from the game itself.
Yeah,
and so most of my battles are pretty. I mean, I get a record sheet out, and if I write someone got hit, then I cross out those boxes to make sure that I don't lose track. But to Jason's point of trying to be lean and keep the details in that are compelling and not be overly wordy, I think the battle scenes have gotten shorter and tighter.
Okay.
Because I read books where the combat is 5 or 6 pages, and I find myself skipping over paragraphs because he swung and you dodged again. He shot you and you dodged again. And now you dodged in a slightly different way, but you still got missed. And now you're getting worried because how long are you going to be able to dodge? I'm like, geez, you've been dodging for 4 pages. Why are you worried about dodging? Clearly, the guy can't hit you. Let's get to where something different happens.
Right.
And so looking at that, I hope that the combat scenes are tight, focusing on the important parts of when the mech goes down, when the armor gets opened up, when the heat spikes, and provide just enough information so that it goes, okay, that didn't happen out of the blue. And so you kind of set the scene. If the ground's is basically loose and rough, then you know that footing's going to be trouble. So when he stumbles, it's not a complete surprise. Where'd that come from? And so hopefully the battle scenes, no one's going, I'm surprised because that thing happened, but it was a tactic. It was a design. That's the surprising part. Not that, what do you mean,
what do you mean they're fighting on the side of a mountain?
Exactly,
Where'd the mountain come
exactly.
from?
Where did the PPC come from? Where did I didn't know that mech had LRMs. So anyway,
sometimes they use a version that they think does, and it really doesn't.
Exactly, and so as we look at that, I mean, I think their less is actually more. So,
okay. Jason?
Well, I just want to go back to what Jim was saying about characterization. I think that's really helpful in a battle scene because the more you care about and are in the heads of who's fighting, the more interesting it is. If you have 2 mechs slugging it out, then they're slugging it out. But if the pilot is one you really don't want to die, then your emotions in it are all different. If there's someone in the other one you really want to get killed, then the emotions are different. Or if it's 2 people fighting and you don't want either of them to get hurt, then that's a whole other scene, and that will inform how you set up the scene and just the tensions you put in, and it can make it a lot more interesting whether you talk about rivulets of armor dripping or not. But then the other thing is, so I did not write a lot of BattleTech in the past 15 years. So getting back into it, I've tried to remind myself how to do it. And the first story I did, the one that was in Shrapnel, I didn't get into a mech cockpit at all, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Yes.
But then I wrote the other story that I've sent to you, and I'm working on the novel about the Death's Head Mercenary Corps. So I had to remember, and I couldn't remember, how do I do this? So I went back and reread some of my older stuff, and I was like, oh, yeah, I really like people talking during battle. And if I can keep the snappy dialogue helping the battle move along, that feels comfortable to me. So having that verbal dynamic between people involved in a fight, whether they're on the same team or not, is something useful to me to help keep it moving along and keep me involved and interested, which is the first thing a book has to do is entertain me.
And I think the communication between, thank God we have comms, yes, because not only is it the giving and receiving of information and orders, but personality comes through in how the unit approaches each other and the enemy, too. So I think you made a very good point there. Yeah.
Well, in the last 15 years, too, there's so much media about actual soldiers and what it's like in combat and some of the stories they're telling. And I think a lot of our readers have maybe an unreal, maybe if it's not even a conscious expectation of like, I've got an idea in my head about how American soldiers react in a combat situation. And so whether you play off of that consciously or unconsciously, there is, I think, at least a better understanding than there was 15 years ago when that information was maybe not as available. Because I think we're, for the most part, talking about pretty exceptional groups within. So even though my guys are nothing special in the grand sphere of things, I think of them in the way I think of Navy SEALs and how how they handle death and how they handle adversity and how they handle that sense of mortality. And so I think that hopefully resonates with the different readers to go, yeah, that's talking during a battle. If that's not happening, then that would seem weird, I think, to most folks nowadays.
Right.
And how you do it, really is a great reflection of being the author. So.
Yep. So, Michael, I want to talk about a very specific thing. You got to create basically a new trial in Trial of Birthright.
Yep.
And that was the denouement of your book. So, how did you, knowing you're doing this, and you had approval and everything to add this, how did you?
Approval.
Yeah, you didn't just throw it at me. I guarantee you talked to people and said, I want to do this, and got our buy-in.
I remember a discussion about that.
So when you approached that battle, which was, like I said, the climax of the story, how did you approach that one, and what did you want to accomplish with setting up this entirely new trial, which we hadn't had a new trial for the clans since I think they came to the Inner Sphere?
Well, part of it was, once again, rule of cool and finding the solution to a problem. We had a real big issue here of how do we get these two groups to agree on something without rehashing the same process of refusal and bidding and trying to make this work, especially when you had a new leader who said, I've already won. I don't care about this anymore. The very first chapter, he's standing over the body of the great father himself and saying, I did it. I did what you asked me to do.
And I did what you couldn't do.
Yep. And we get some of those wonderful lines of theory of, I want a trial of equals. I have no equals.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that in a culture that was built off of this rule? The rules no longer applied, so how do we go down a different area?
Into uncharted territory, exactly.
And then it became super interesting of how do we show off these mechs that we want to look at? Or, and going back to some of what Jim said there, knowing that 5 PPC blasts or PPC blasts are going to core you if they're all in the same place. And we've now got the tools, and I've said this many times too, between Aces, Alpha Strike, Battletech, right there. Play the games, and it'll give you a new flavor. Now, every author will tell you here, rule of cool will take over. If your main character gets shot in the head, that's going to end your book real fast, so you probably don't want to do that unless that was the original plan.
Then it becomes a glancing blow.
But also we can get beautiful moments of, the Wraith jumped on this bridge, blew its piloting skill roll, and went down through 3 levels of bridge. That's a fun little anecdote. That's a part of the story that adds to the beauty of the book right there and gives people things to look back at and have fun.
Right, absolutely.
We've got a couple of questions from the fans right there.
Oh, excellent.
So did you have any other questions
I
want to give the last
absolutely.
15?
This has been great. Let's move on to the question portion. I really appreciate the fans being interactive, and I'm sure there's things they want to know about from us as well. So shoot.
Yes, indeed. So first and foremost, there were some jokes made about skipping mech fights in the past because they were all the same as the novels of the 90s.
Wow.
Not quite, and we've got one of our defenders right here.
Somewhere Stackpole's ears just pricked up like, how dare you?
Yeah.
We were still coming up with dripping bits of molten metal.
Well, like you said, it was so fluid. And you had 8 or 9 mechs to work with at the time? Maybe a dozen?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, someone's looking to pick fights right there. What colors are the various lasers?
Okay, I actually had an engineer come to me and go, you understand that different spectrums do different results, and the most powerful are at the, because blue lasers are, I think he said, and forgive me engineers out there, but he said, it's red because that's the most powerful, and that's just how they work. And I'm like, well, yeah, sure, I understand that, but it's fiction, and it's science fiction. So he's like, I read all your books, and he said, I read all the Battletech books, and he said, I love them, but at the end, the engineer in me sometimes kind of goes, all right, okay, that's cool.
So for the longest time, and I have a bone to pick with I don't know who, for the longest time, I thought I had it sussed out that blue was small, green was medium, and red was large.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's what I had kind of codified from the books I'd read. And then I think it was Ray said, no, it's whatever we need them to be. Now, again, engineers, please forgive us. Of course, if you're firing something through a different atmosphere, if it's got different levels of gases, it turns different colors. You can get purple and gold and everything. I do try to make my writers stick with the primary 3 just to make it simple. But apparently there's no real consensus, which does kind of annoy me as an editor. But I guess there shouldn't be, because you have all these different manufacturers making different lasers, and maybe they're using a different process. So one heavy laser from, I don't remember the name, over on this side of like in the Free Worlds League, shoots a purple beam. Another one for the Davians shoots a blue beam because red and blue. I don't know. So it's mildly annoying that we can't answer that question, but we got to work with what we got. And as Jim said, at the end of the day, it is fiction.
It's fiction.
I got an editorial note back when I was doing the WizKids novels. I forget which one. But our beloved WizKids Battletech editor, Sharon Turner Mulvihill, put a note on one of my books, because I think I was trying to be realistic with the lasers.
Uh-huh.
And she just wrote, lasers in Battletech come in pretty jewel-like colors. So that's the official line I've used since then.
Were you trying to do like the low light, no light?
I was trying to, yeah. I looked it up online. Okay, what color should they be? What's the most realistic? And she said, no, make them pretty and jewel-like.
That sounds like Sharon.
Scintillating beams is one of my favorites. Okay, Michael, what's next?
So this one's actually for Jim, and probably an approval thing for you. So they're hinting around now at these Blackthorns novels right there, and Clan Invasion. Or is this directly after? Is this close after? Because we've seen recently a lot.
The third book will pick up just like between 1 and 2. There's a little bit of a gap to reset the contract and to do the downtime and the repairs and stuff like that. Book number 3 will pick up within a couple of months of the end of book number 2.
Nice.
Direct sequel, yes, which I'm very excited about.
That is really exciting. We've done a lot of moving units forward. We've been doing a lot of recovering units, but that's really nice to be able to pick up where we were previously.
I think we have a really good arc. I mean, I'm really excited about the conversations we've had.
I was very, very happy with how you wanted to take it forward. Yep. Because we discussed, I'll pull a little bit of the curtain back. We had discussed, like, the Blackthorn's end was rather ignominious and abrupt. I think we can all agree on that. And Jim and I sat down one time, and of course, I although I have a lot of leeway in what I do with fiction, I also have to make sure that Ray, our line developer for Battletech, is involved as well, because he has thoughts and feelings and what he wants to see happen. And we were trying to figure out, well, do we bring the Thorns forward? And he's like, I don't think that's really going to work. Like, there's always a way to make people survive. There's always a way to, like, I got off planet or whatever. But he's like, I think that one is pretty much done. You know, we've done, like, with Grey Death Rising, with Schmetzer, we've done Descendants. And I know we've talked about that possibly. But when I went back to you and said, look, so they're not going to be in the Ill Clan, but let's give them the send-off they deserve in the Clan Invasion era. And you, being a consummate professional, were like all over that. Yeah, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, again, the important thing, no character lives forever.
True.
True. You know, but at the end of the day, they can be memorable. They can be memorable in 4 books or memorable in 14 books, but it's hard to be memorable in 457 books. You know, then you're right. I mean,
but it's also hard to be memorable when you get a footnote at the end.
Right,
so
exactly.
Yeah. So we're going to tell that story.
Tell the story.
And I'm sure Jim's going to have twists and turns. Like you said, there's a paragraph here and a line there.
Right.
And you're going to expound on that.
So, and we're not saying that every single character dies at the end of the 4th book. And we're not, but we are saying we're going to have it's an arc. It's got a starting and a middle, and it's going to have an end, and how those characters don't proceed. I don't want to give too much away, but it's hopefully people go, yeah, I see. I could, yeah, that sits well with me. When I ask people for their movie reviews, I don't say, was it a good ending, or was it, I said, were you satisfied with the ending? Because everyone can die at the end, and you go, that was a great ending, because that would fit with the movie. And noir particularly has great endings that are very
tragic.
So as long as it's hopefully a great ending for the 4-book arc, then we're in good shape.
Okay, got more questions?
Yes. Is Jason Hardy, the assassin, as we call him, going to be knocking off any other long-standing characters?
Wow.
Please and thank you.
I did one.
It was a big one. That's this universe's Chewbacca, sir.
You are the expert at killing important characters. We have another author who kills off entire clans, groups.
He does mass.
Yeah.
Currently, I mean, Death's Head, that one's focused a little bit more smaller scale.
Yeah.
So as of yet, we have no current plans to introduce the Laughing Man Part 2. So, but if that comes along, I know just the man for the job.
I'm ready. Guns blazing.
Yes, we do. So we're coming up on our final 4 minutes now. So if anyone else has any questions, please toss them out right there. Once again, I'm here with John Helfers, executive editor, Jim Long, author of Main Event and DRT, and soon to be some others right there, including Boom.
Boom.
The Boom became Danger Close. That will
Yes.
be appearing in the Free Fiction Anthology in January of next year.
And Jason Scorpion Jar Hardy, as always, my favorite right there of everyone there. That is good. So I appreciate you. Just giving you a quick jump right there for what's coming next. We currently are going right into RPGs, how it's done. I'm sure someone we know and love will be right
I'll
there.
stay right here.
Beautiful. Then we're going to be doing, looks like Quincy and Mike doing some things right there, which is lovely. If you haven't seen Quincy's Tavern, you're in for some great new feats and some great board games. Then into Kung Fu Panda with Jason. In costume? Question mark?
No. I mean, does this count as a costume? That's what I'm wearing.
I think we need a panda costume. And then some Shadowrun Anarchy. So that is all good. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are coming live from PAX. Ooh, we do have a good question or two. No.
One more to end up on.
Yes.
And go out on.
What else is in the planning for fiction? John, you want to give a wrap up of what else is there?
Very quick, 60 seconds. So next year, the big announcement that I've been talking about incessantly for the past few months is we are moving to 6 BattleTech novels a year. The cornerstone of 2026 is our Wars of Reaving trilogy, written by Craig Reed, Jason Hansa, and Phil Lee. That trilogy nearly broke them, but they got it done. It's in edit right now. I cannot wait to see what they've done with that, trying to cram. It's a big source book, big 2 source book. They're trying to cram those into 3 books. Also, we've got more work from Brian Young. His Ghost of Tim Cavici takes us back to the hinterlands. Mike Stackpole is working on his first full novel for BattleTech in a really long time. He's going to finally tell the Red Corsair story.
Den of Wolves?
That's not the Red Corsair story.
I didn't think it was.
As the universe is my witness, I'm going to do my damnedest to get Den of Wolves finished. Meanwhile, Bounty Hunter, Tales of the Bounty Hunter Anthology is dropping on the 28th of this month. I'm very excited about that. If you are a Kickstarter backer at Paper Pusher level for Mercenaries or higher, you should have already gotten the ebook in your files. So check that. Don't go out and buy it if you already pledged for it in the Kickstarter. Let's see what else. We've got Daniel Isberner, I know, is going to appear next year. He's got bringing in his mercenary group, the Silent Reapers. Very excited about that. And who's the 5th one? Oh, January is Jason Hansen again, doing The Long Road, which is one of our final, for now, Terra stories, featuring a long-running Dark Age character who kind of gets a send-off. I don't want to spoil it. I have to still read the book myself. I'm very excited to see what he's done there, too. So lots and lots of stuff coming. More novellas, Brian Young. We've got a 4-pack of Ghost Bear kind of after the Civil War that he's done that's already coming out, and we have tons and tons of other stuff happening as well. Whew. Okay, that's it for me. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Once again, you're seeing the Catalyst Game Lab 6 Sides of Gaming stream. We are live from PAX Unplugged. In just a minute, we're going to be returning with RPGs, how it's done. Stick around. We appreciate you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We are here for the RPG How It's Done panel. So I've got with me Jason Hardy, the director of the RPG division.
Hey, Rib, what's going on?
We can talk right over RJ.
I know. He's, kind of here.
And then we have sitting next to us and apparently very small,
Look, there he is.
RJ, who's the line developer for Shadowrun. How you doing, RJ?
I am fine. Hello to everybody from the internet ether. Ooh.
Awesome. Cool. We just saw the phone internet of what the stream looks like, and RJ, you're so little. It's like you're sitting on the floor.
Well, maybe someday I'll get to sit at the adult table, but for now, as long as I get my, slice of pumpkin pie. Oh, wait a minute. We're not talking about Thanksgiving, are we?
We'll have to do a photo op at the end. Lorcan is saying that we both should, on either side, kiss RJ's head.
I feel so loved.
Well, this is a time that we are going to deep dive into not only what's coming for Shadowrun and RPGs, but kind of how it's done in terms of concept all the way to publication. And this is also an AMA, so feel free to drop questions in the chat, and I'll ask those as we have the space for them. So let's start with you, RJ, with Shadowrun. What can we expect coming in the next year?
In the next year, oh my goodness. Well, so we've got a lot of stuff. Right now, we're wrapping up. We just had Deus Ex Arcana dropped not too long ago, the Advanced Magic book, which is doing very, very well, and I'm very, very happy about that.
It's here at the show.
Yes, it is there at the show. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad it's there at the show, considering I'm not. But, that's okay. But, no, we've got Deus Ex Arcana, great book. We have Main Streets, which is a sort of a runner resource type of book, which will get everybody caught up on what's been going on in the shadows in the wake of events that the Dyssian Shadow War that were concluded in Lethal Harvest. After that, we have a companion book that's a campaign book, I should say, that called Asphalt Jungles, which goes back to some more of the stuff that's going on at street level, and also gives us some really cool missions to play. So very, very happy about those, because they starting to get us back to more of the street level stuff, which a lot of people have been asking about. I mean, I love my world spanning plots as much as anybody else, but, Shadowrun has always been about the streets. So, I'm very, very excited about those books. We also have coming out at some point sooner than later a new Shadowrun 6th World Edition book, kind of like how we did for Seattle and Berlin. We've got Hong Kong that's up to bat this time. So I'm very, very happy about that. And after that, we've got a few more books. We've got a book called Explosive Decompression. Shadowrunners get to go back into space a little bit. So lots of really good stuff in there, lots of cool tech. I'm kind of speed running through these real quick, so if anyone's got any questions.
We
about
have
any of
like
these books,
45 minutes. You're good.
Oh, we do? Oh, I'm so used to just, I'm trying to get to the important stuff, the questions, but that's just me. I'm also hyped up on coffee, so, I might be shaking a little bit here,
fair.
so maybe not having the camera on me is probably a good thing. No, I'm okay. But after that we have, after Explosive Decompression, we've got some more real interesting stuff. We have a sort of a placeholder book called State of the Art 2084, which is going to kind of be a nice midpoint. All the stuff that we've been talking about since, say, Lethal Harvest, and we're kind of keeping those plot lines and adding some new stuff. And these are all ways for people to get involved in the overall Shadowrun meta plot. If a game master finds something they really, really like, they can incorporate it into their books and maybe, help give their players a more immersive feel, so that they can use all that great, great stuff in their games. But if they don't and they want to go with their own stuff, hey, that's awesome too. Because there is no wrong way to play Shadowrun, just like eating a Reese's. So, and after that, we have another book which I'm very, very excited about. It is called Bleeding Edge. So for all you tech people out there who love your Wear, love your Matrix stuff, want to know what's going on with that, and kind of wanted to see a little bit where technology is going to be going in the near future, that's the book for you. Bleeding Edge is going to be our core tech book, which is going to, incorporate rigging, Matrix, and augmentation. So that's another one that I'm very, very excited about that. As far as that, we also have our missions. Missions are going to be I've been doing very, very well, both at conventions, and also they've been doing very, very well as for sales. So I'm very, very happy. Quick shout out to Aaron Dykstra, who is the missions developer. He does a good enough job where I don't have to worry about it, and that's always a great thing. So, and also dovetailing into that, something else I'm very, very excited about is that our ebook line is going into overdrive here really, really soon. Not only do we had a few, a couple months back, Dealers of Death and Soul Survivor, which both have done very, very well. I'm very, very happy about those. But we've got so many ebooks coming out in, later this year and into 2026. We will be able to release at least one ebook per month throughout 2026. And the way it's going, we might even be able to double up and maybe do 2 a month. So getting the finishing touches on. So for those of you who have been keeping up with the Dragon Scroll and have the Halo app and have been getting books like Risks and Rewards and Deus Ex Arcana, we're putting the final tweaks on some of the stuff in there. So when you go through those books, you'll be able to use that AR functionality and find all sorts of really, really cool stuff, not just on its own, but, in conjunction with the Shadowrun meta plots. So keep an eye out for those. We'll be letting people know when we do the official launch really, really soon.
Awesome. That's so exciting.
Lots of we have the Scroll of the Dragon that we finally didn't have it out yesterday, but we have it out on display. It's such a gorgeous piece, and the way they're weaving it into the meta plot is going to be, and into the books, is going to be a really fun experience.
It sounds
for people
very,
to
very
explore,
exciting.
and it is very, very exciting.
Awesome. And so how have sales been doing on the scrolls here at the show?
We didn't do a whole lot yesterday because we didn't have it out.
Okay.
Every time we get it out so people can see it, because the problem is it's packaged in a very plain brown box.
A very, very plain?
A very, very plain box. Because we protect it so it just looks like a shipping thing that our wonderful layout design person, Matt, made some clever jokes on, but still it looks like a plain brown cardboard box. But then you take it out and you see what it is, and people go, oh, I need this in my life.
Yep.
So we'll look forward to seeing it now that they get to see it.
That's so
and
exciting.
I figured out how to display it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I love the part of the whole collection because there's a lot of really, really cool stuff on that plain box. So, don't dismiss the box. Don't throw it away.
That's why I can't get rid of it or just take it out and display the nice wooden box that's inside, because the cardboard box is awesome.
It's in
but
world.
It also doesn't quite give the full scope of the scroll.
Yeah.
I know when we were at Gamehole Con, it sold out, and it was just such an easy sell because not only is this 8-foot-long scroll art piece that is double-sided, so you can switch it up if you want, but the fact that it's readable and a game aid.
It's so cool, and it's a unique item.
And I believe as well in Risks and Rewards and Deus Ex Arcana, there's also stuff that can be associated with the Halo app, correct?
Yep. You have some codes in there that will help you connect all the material together.
Awesome. Go ahead, RJ.
Yep. That's what I was alluding to. So yeah, lots of really, and I want to give another quick little shout out to Shadowrun art director Ian King for all the work that he has put in on getting the Dragon Scroll and the AR stuff and the site up and running, and being the kind of the mad genius for finding ways to embed some of this AR functionality into the artwork. It's this was planned from the beginning for some of these books. Like it really baked into the art.
Cool.
And speaking of Ian, if you happen to come to PAX today or tomorrow, come by the Catalyst booth because we have special BattleTech and Shadowrun holiday ornaments. And Ian made the Shadowrun ones, and they are fantastic.
Yeah, it's while supplies last.
It'll be the best thing you put on your tree this year.
Yeah, we are giving them away with purchase, right?
Yep.
Is there a minimum amount or anything? Yep. Awesome. We're just giving them away, and whatever's left over from PAX we'll be putting online for our online store to do this. Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Neat. All right, anything else Shadowrunny either of you guys want to share at the moment?
I mean, I could talk to Shadowrun for hours, but, we don't have that much time.
I think the only other important update is that Takedown, which we kickstarted, should be getting into people's hands first quarter of next year.
Correct.
So there have been some various production and shipping and other things that delayed it more than we wanted it to, but those seem to be resolved, and it should be fulfilled very soon.
Yeah. There's a lot of excitement around it. I know people have been coming by to see if we have the minis and stuff like that. So
and it is a fun game. It's one of the best games we've made for just getting a quick Shadowrun experience in a box. 45 minutes to an hour, but still feel like you did a Shadowrun. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So we have other RPGs, I hear.
We
these
do.
Days. So what's the status on, our whole list? Kung Fu Panda, Voltron.
So Kung Fu Panda is here. We have the printout of the booklet that we're selling at the convention. We're going to have the electronic release because it's mainly an electronic product that's a short 48-page RPG. But we'll have the electronic release anytime now, basically, as soon as I can make sure that the corrections were put into the PDF and we're all good to go.
Awesome.
So we should have that for people for the holiday season. If you want to have a quick, fun RPG for all ages, Kung Fu Panda is a blast. I've had fun every time I played it, and it's really easy to pick up for anyone.
Cool.
Then I got some really exciting news. Just before the convention, that Voltron Legendary Defender role-playing game, the full text and layout and everything was approved.
Yay!
Yes, it's been a fine, long journey to get there, but the fact that we can just put in the very last corrections that they had for us and then we can get it out to backers is very exciting for me, so people will have that in their hands. What we'll probably do is let the backers have it for a week or two just to play with it, and if they have any last changes, then we'll incorporate that, send it to the print. People can get it in their hands soon. The Defender of the Universe RPG will not be far behind. It's just a little more delayed because it needed more. We get screen captures and everything from Legendary Defender because that's a recent TV show trying to find good screen caps from a 40-year-old TV show. A little hard.
It's a little tougher.
Yeah, but we have an excellent art crew on it, and I've seen their first images that they put